Have you ever felt stuck? Not because the world is against you, but because something inside you keeps hitting the brakes. Like you're right there. The opportunity is real. The timing is decent. And yet, you hesitate, you overthink, you delay, you talk yourself out of it. And no, that's not laziness. That's not a lack of motivation. That's a self-sabotage loop. And if you're human, you've been in it. Self-sabotage usually doesn't look dramatic. It doesn't show up as quitting everything and moving to the mountains. It shows up as almost doing the thing, almost applying, almost starting, almost committing. And the frustrating part is, you often don't even realize you're doing it. Your brain is very good at sounding reasonable while holding you back. It uses logic, past experiences, and fear disguised as being realistic, which honestly is impressive, but also annoying. Let me introduce you to Sarah. Sarah is capable, smart, hardworking, but every time an opportunity comes her way, the same thought appears. I'm not ready yet, so she waits. She prepares more. She watches other people step into roles she once considered. From the outside, it looks like patience, but inside, it's hesitation wearing a professional outfit. Sarah isn't afraid of failure. She's afraid of being exposed. Then there's James. James has been dreaming about starting his own business for years. Not casually dreaming. I mean spreadsheets, notes, late-night, YouTube rabbit holes. He knows the steps, he's done the research. But every time he gets close to starting, his brain jumps in with commentary. What if it fails? What if you're not cut out for this? What if you lose money and have to explain that to people? And suddenly, he decides to wait for the right time. Which, by the way, is a fictional date invented by fear. James isn't afraid of work, he's afraid of regret, so he stays in planning mode, which feels productive, but keeps him safe. Here's what Sarah and James have in common. They're not lacking discipline, they're not broken. They're operating under limiting beliefs. A limiting belief is a thought that feels true, but isn't helpful. Thoughts like, I'm not good enough yet. People like me don't succeed. If I fail, it means something about me. Your brain's job is to protect you, not to help you grow. So when growth feels risky, your brain chooses familiarity instead. Even if familiarity is frustrating. The first way to break the cycle is conscious reframing. This does not mean lying to yourself in the mirror with aggressive affirmations. You don't wake up one day and say, I am unstoppable and flawless, and suddenly believe it. Your brain would immediately call that nonsense. Reframing means catching the thought and choosing a better one. For example, I'm not ready becomes I'll grow by doing this. I always mess things up becomes I'm learning what works. Not inspirational, functional. You're not replacing the thought with positivity, you're replacing it with accuracy. The second strategy is micro-habit stacking. This is where most people overcomplicate things. They think change requires motivation, discipline, or a dramatic personality shift. It doesn't. It requires friction reduction. Micro-habits work because they're too small for your brain to resist. You attach a tiny action to something you already do. Coffee in the morning, write one sentence, brush your teeth. Take one deep breath and reset your posture. No motivation needed, no debate required. Small actions repeated consistently rewire identity. You don't become confident first. You act consistently, and confidence follows. Now this one surprises people. Self-compassion is not being soft on yourself, it's being effective. When you mess up, your instinct might be to criticize yourself harshly, which feels productive, but actually makes self-sabotage worse. Studies show that people who practice self-compassion recover faster, take more responsibility, and persist longer. Turns out, yelling at yourself doesn't work. Who knew? Self-compassion sounds like, okay, that didn't go well, what can I learn? Not, wow, you did it again, impressive. Limiting beliefs are like invisible chains. You don't notice them because they've always been there. But once you see them, you realize they're not locked, They're learned, and anything learned can be unlearned. Reframe your thoughts. Stack small habits. Be kind to yourself. That's how you take control of your mind, your actions, and eventually, your life. Remember, the cycle doesn't have to control you. You already have the tools. You already have the power. And today, you don't need to change everything. You just need to take the first step. So ask yourself, which strategy will you start using today? Think about it, and when you're ready, take that step.